For decades, Weekly Shonen Jump has set a high bar for action manga. This is the same magazine that has housed Dio's World and Elf Reincarnation, so WSJ fans are accustomed to high-octane, intense, emotionally gripping story arcs. The International Assassins arc is the peak of Chainsaw Man and established Tatsuki Fujimoto as one of the greatest mangaka of his era. Taking influence from the realm of North American cinema, International Assassins feels equal parts Coen brothers, Tarantino, Scorsese, and Sergio. In 18 chapters, Int-Ass aggregates all the qualities that Fujimoto excels at as a writer and artist and distills it into the greatest supernatural crime drama in WSJ history. For the first 52 chapters of Chainsaw Man, Denji and crew are portrayed as quirky yet lovable misfits, adjusting to their newly formed friendships and occupations, while tackling relatively low-level threats at the bequest of the public safety devil hunters. There was the infamous puking chapter, Bad Bitch Reize, Batter Bitch Makima, Stank Bitch Power, the Fox Devil, Maga Knife Man, and an assortment of zaniness that, while entertaining, felt disconnected and a bit forgettable. By chapter 53, Fujimoto had steadied his pen and hyper-focused on the strongest aspects of Chainsaw Man: a quicker pace, quippy jokes in the style of astonishing X-Men era Joss Whedon, with cataclysmic ramifications that echoed the dread and futility of the eclipse. This arc is Fujimoto's Pulp Fiction. This segment of his career was his masterpiece. Immediately, the reader notices a change in page layout and dialogue. The dynamic between Aki, Power, and Denji is at an all-time high. In chapter 56, the crew are eating at Tatsuki Tetsuda, a cheekily named food place most likely located in a shithole like Ikebukuro. Power is force-fed veggies that she hates and wants to barf. She options Denji to be her puke vessel, and he actually considers it for a 10k yen fee. Why Dogma hasn't made a parody of this scene yet is beyond me, but what I do recognize is that Fujimoto is feeling exceptionally comfortable writing deeply layered plot lines during this arc, weaving in essential story moments, all while keeping the comedic relief at a constant. Visual gags are also quite strong during these chapters. Power poking her horns into Denji's cheeks as they deduce their real purpose as bait for the incoming assassins is a quality gag that helps drive along the plot. Kobeni and Violence show great chemistry between the two of them, offering bits of lore and backstory while walking down a street, probably Otome Road, as they eat soft serve. But it isn't just the main cast that shines during this arc. The Three Brothers was a C-plot that highlighted why Fujimoto was writing at the top of his game during this time. Aldo, being the only brother alive at the end of this arc, being mercifully spared by Yoshida, seems like a rare, benevolent mood from a grisly and bitter author, setting up a possible storyline for future use. Aldo exclaiming to Yoshida in a panicked voice that he just saw two people die in an accident, coded for the deaths of his brothers, was sad yet poignant. It also ties into Kurosei's backstory and adds an additional level of emotionality that I wasn't expecting in such an action-packed manga. Kishi, another exceptional character that gets a strong spotlight despite limited page count, is another high point that shows how well the mangaka had developed his ensemble juggling. Kishibe's liaison between Makima, Quanshi, and his contracted devils are revealed, and his physical health is also brought to light. These aren't just passing details. The impact of these characters are still being explored, some 100 plus chapters later, but to see them introduced so early in such a dense story arc shows the great ambition that Fujimoto has. However, International Assassins isn't the significant piece of fiction that it is solely for the characters. Despite only taking place over a few chapters, Tatsuki's portrayal of hell is one of the greatest depictions in modern literacy. The journey to hell in this world takes place in a bloodstained mall, ushered by a 6-digit hand that descends you to vast plains that reach out forever, similar to a desert, but abundant with life forms. The battle to come is one-sided, visceral, hopeless. Darkness Devil is an antagonist that exists solely to extinguish. The China babes are instantly driven to suicidal thoughts. Our heroes who have fought tooth and nail together up until now are literally and figuratively torn to shreds at the mere croak of a frog. This segment feels so similar to Berserk's Eclipse, and despite Makuma's interruption providing salvation for what remains of our heroes, the reader is left with even more questions about Hell, the world of Chainsaw Man, primal devils, and the power scaling between the devils and devil hunters. Denji lighting himself on fire while battling Santa Claus is one of the most incredible sequences that has ever graced the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump. He continuously burns while his resolve remains strong as he wills himself into defeating Santa Claus. Denji literally harnesses the power of friendship in order to win his showdown. These spreads are some of Fujimoto's best work. The silliness of Santa's final doll-like form is reminiscent of Frieza's during Planet Namek, but the visual gag quickly sidesteps when you see the devastation possible from this antagonist. The inventiveness and experimental approach to paneling during these final chapters of Int Ass are nothing short of peak fiction. Despite Fujimoto coming into his own during this arc, the multiple references to other Shonen Jump work is like a feast for otaku. Cosmo uses Halloween in the same fashion that Goku would use Kamehameha during the 22nd Budokai Tenkaichi arc in Dragon Ball, as a means to blast away the enemy, incapacitating them, not necessarily killing them. In just 2 volumes, International Assassins not only cemented Chainsaw Man as an industry leader for shonen manga, but established Tatsuki Fujimoto as the neurotic, cerebral mangaka that he is. Unfortunately, subsequent arcs in Chainsaw Man don't reach the same highs as Int Ass, but the courage to design such haunting devils, write such emotional backstories for very minor characters, explore unique framing and inking techniques, and stuff a million gags into such dire situations should be applauded. Everything that Chainsaw Man is about is told during this arc. International Assassins is a Weekly Shonen Jump greatest hit.